What's up, guys? I just got done watching the Combat Waffle Studios interview at the Gamescom home of XR Mega Booth with Rough Talk Radio, and I really wanted to make this video. This is probably one of the more important videos I'm going to make. And sorry if my mic just changed just now, I'm just adjusting the settings, but I'm going to list off a few notable points they had in the interview that I think really need to be brought to attention here, and I'll give my thoughts on it in no particular order, just kind of the order of the video while it's fresh in my mind. So a bunch of exciting news, of course, for the future of Ghost of Tabor and what's going on also with Silent North and Grim. The first being Silent North Early Access is for a rough estimate coming out in the first quarter of 2025 as of now. But moving on to Ghost of Tabor, they really did talk in depth of what this game might look like going into the future very soon. The new mission system was something particularly interesting. It is still something they are prioritizing in their development, besides bugs, of course. And I just loved the sound of this because it certainly will change the game completely. These new missions are going to be a lot like Tarkov. A lot of fetch quests by the sounds of it, a lot of go here, do that, explore this, plant something here. They will still be kill missions though. There'll still be Phoenix kill missions. There'll still be player kill missions. But what they described in this interview was the person they hired for writing these missions out wrote them a book of missions that they're going to implement into the game. It's going to be very hard to get to the end of any of these missions, and it's important to design the game like that due to the tryhards and sweats that all they do is play this game. They're going to get through these missions a lot, especially with fewer maps and with the AI being as easy as it is. It's going to be very easy to just smash through all these quests and missions. These missions, I've seen something about them. I don't want to say how or when, but it looks like every time you get a mission, you'll get a little blurb from the trader who's giving you the mission about why he wants you to do the mission. Now, one important thing about that is that not all the traders get along with each other. Your reputation will be affected by other traders depending on how many missions you do with other traders. Jiri might not get along with Minty, so doing missions for Minty might affect your reputation with Jiri. Now, another huge aspect about that is that this guy that wrote all these missions is also working on implementing them into the lore, and the lore is huge. They really did talk about lore here, and they emphasize the importance of it, which I'm super happy about. It's been the big thing that's missing for this game for me, and all of these missions are going to be tied into the lore quite a lot. There's going to be a story, and they mentioned the story being based around this nuclear event. They call it the Nuclear Night, happening while these two private military factions, the Volk and the Ghosts, were operating in the area. Of course, now their mission objectives have changed because of this giant anomalous event, I guess you could say, and now they are all competing for resources and doing missions under their own agendas, clashing with each other, of course. The whole idea encompasses the new missions that we're going to be doing, and I think it's really going to help the dynamic of the game. I'm really excited for it, and of course the timelines are just soon. Every time they're talking about timelines, like really soon, like really soon, but we never know, right? There's so many bugs, there's so many issues with the game. They've said soon so many times for specific features coming to the game that still haven't been implemented, you know, I think over 12 months. Soon means soon. I don't know, but look out for that kind of stuff because it's going to be really cool. Also, another thing I want to say about the missions, it's going to balance the population in the maps. Missions are going to be map specific, so no more like just running silo all the time, no more high pop on certain maps and low pop on others, because these missions and how you progress as your main character are going to be specific to the maps. Like I said, these missions you're going to have to go to certain maps for. So this is huge. It's insanely important for the development of Ghost of Tabor. It's going to be a lot like Tarkov, I feel. It's going to be a lot harder and a lot easier in some ways probably, but mostly harder, more dynamic and more depth. I think that's what this game needs, and as a VR game, it's going to be insanely impressive to experience and go through. The next thing they talked about was creator charms coming to the game. They will be a paid item, so you can represent your favorite creators to help support the game, even though Scott did state that they've invested so much money into that idea, just paying the creators for the rights to use their charms, that they are not going to make anything. This is just for the creators themselves. I think a lot of people like to rip on Scott and be like, yo, he's in this for the money. Okay, Scott's a smart business owner. He's owned many businesses. No business owner in their right mind would be in a VR company. or a gaming company whatsoever. There's so many easier businesses you can make money from. This is very passion driven from what I see. I seriously doubt anybody's in this for the money. And that's what makes VR so pure, at least the second half of it. The first half of it is a little gimmicky and feels like some sort of mobile ripoff, but the other half, it's just people that aren't in it for the money. There's no money to be made. Unless you do extremely well and stop growing, the money's not going to be made until the future of VR gets really set into place, which for now it's not. So hopefully this is a kind of early investment for people. Hopefully they all do well in the future. I'm talking about the developers and publishers in the VR space. That's just a tangent that I'm going on. So let's move on to the next thing they talked about was Tabor, Silent North, and Grim are actually all set in the same universe. I know everybody was aware of this and this was kind of broached in a few AMAs, but how they're going to do this is pretty cool. It's very believable and it builds a backstory with lore. Lore is important because it subconsciously immerses you into the game while you're playing it. You don't know it, but it actually helps immerse you into the game. And we're playing VR here. Immersion's important. There are timelines in these games, and I love that Silent North is like a prequel almost, and Grim is like a sequel. It's very cool. So Silent North, they were saying it's going to be set in the 1980s in the Swiss Alps, I believe. Tabor is of course our modern age, 2024, and Grim is set in, Scott wasn't sure, we'll have to ask Spoon about this, but it was set in like the year 2500 or even 3000. Like I said, we'll need clarification from Spoon from that. They also talked about their extreme focus on community feedback with Ghost of Tabor and also their two other games, Grim and Silent North. There was a touching moment during this interview where they talked about Tabor helping people in wheelchairs, and I really could imagine this. They added the sitting feature in Tabor, and I just wanted to mention it because I think it'd be really cool. Like, if you are in a wheelchair, gaming is an extremely enabling experience, and Tabor is another level of that because it is in VR. It's way more immersive, and they have the sitting feature, and it's helped a few people in wheelchairs play Tabor. So there's been great feedback on that. I think that's really touching, and I think it's important because we're going to hear a lot more stories like that coming from the space of VR. Here's another big point that they made that most of you do know because it was mentioned a few times, but this is more specific on how it's going to work. Next wipe, they're going to add a PVE co-op mode, fully separate, which is a fully separate account and will be a DLC. So Founding Fathers and Liberty Edition owners will be able to access this, but this will also be something you can pay for as a separate DLC for the game. It will help you get into the game with your buddies. You'll have a separate bunker, separate character, separate loadouts, separate everything. You can go through everything through the game, and this will come with the new missions. This will come with that. He's saying this is next wipe. This seems like a pretty big addition, but at the same time, it just is the game offline as well. So I could see it being doable by the time next wipe rolls around. They also mentioned the PlayStation VR 2 is coming. This is not an easy process by what I've seen. They say still hoping a really soon timeline, not just a soon timeline, but really soon. It's happening really soon. They're working through the last bits of it. I will always tell you to not hold your breath waiting for this, but it is happening. And of course, at the end there, they finally announced their new haptics vest from bHaptics. It's an official Tabor bHaptics vest. It looks like the normal bHaptics vest, but has the Tabor logo embroidered onto the chest pad there. So that's really cool. It looks awesome. I wish I had a haptics suit. I don't know how much I'd use it. It takes a while to set up, and you know, I got to set up stream, and I got to set up everything else. It already takes long enough to set up VR, but it's cool. I know a lot of people love haptics vests, and they're very immersive and help you know where the enemy is when you're getting shot. So that's important. Haptics vests are awesome. I'm totally for them. So my final thoughts on this stuff is that this is incredibly important. Having these new missions, seeing this interview helped me peer into the future of Tabor a little bit more, and I'm all for it. I'm extremely excited, and I think they're going to have a lot to offer for people who have bought this product. I think they've already offered a lot in terms of gameplay and the hours you can spend in this gameplay loop, but the depth and scope of things that they're going to be adding into the future is going to provide so much more, and that's really exciting to see. So guys, my name is Jakey Pants. I cover everything Combat Waffle Studios and other VR shooters that I may find interesting. Please consider subscribing. It really helps me out being the small channel that I am. And join the Discord down in the description section below. There's tons of people there now. I'm actually insanely impressed at how many people are in there. I think there's almost 200 now. Everybody's looking to game, you know, get together. We talk about these ideas and the future of VR gaming, as well as just powwow and joke around. It's a really cool place to hang out. If you're interested, please feel free to join and say what's up. Everybody there is cool because we have a rule. Cool people only. Anyway, I'll stop that tangent, and thank you very much for watching. You have a good day.